Man, we might have been doing this for a couple months now, but that beat still gets me going. I'm not going to lie about it. Thanks for everybody who's in here. Hello, good evening. It is a little different this week. It is a Wednesday night instead of our typical Monday night, but I told you guys from the beginning this would be a little inconsistent. It would just we'd have to roll with the punches. So due to some scheduling deadlines and wanting to hype a few different events up, we are here on a Wednesday night, and we have another superstar lineup of guests behind the scenes. So it's been a few busy days here at Queen City. Obviously, we were down at Santee Cooper in Clarendon County. We had a huge 160 person plus event co-hosting with the Hobie Bass Open Series. Pretty sure I counted 9. It could have been 8 or 9 anglers cut checks on the Hobie Bass Open Series side of things. So that was amazing. Huge shout out to those guys who took home money. Top 28 anglers got paid. Huge shout out, obviously, to Chad Walden. He's been on more podcasts in the last couple days than he's ever heard of. So extremely excited for him to get his shine on, as we always say here at Queen City. And we are lucky enough to be giving you guys another opportunity in not this weekend, but next weekend down on Lake Hartwell to get your shine on. We are co-hosting again with another large entity and the Bass Kayak series. So we have one of the best directors in the game backstage right now in Steve Owens. I am blessed and lucky to be working with him again this year. So we're excited to talk to him. We have our presenting sponsor, Domestic Fence Company, backstage. We have Kurt Smits. If you know him, he goes by Smitty. He's one of the best anglers in the country. He came to hang out with us tonight, and we're waiting on Mr. Neil Paul, our host city representative. So hoping he jumps in here. But I want to thank you all for being here. This thing that we've called Not a Podcast is pretty much running strong. We're into April, and we haven't missed a beat. We are going into another Queen City event in a week and a half. We're having event number 2 of the Southern Division, and it's only April 5th. We've had a Southern, a Western, 3 mains, going into another Southern, and we have been nonstop, and the numbers have been amazing. And, that's what a director can go off of. That's direct, immediate feedback that you guys are enjoying what we're doing here. So looking forward to a big one here on Hartwell. I'm going to say it, I'm really thinking we should have 100 anglers at this one, but we'll see, how the chips fall sometimes. So I see a couple guys in here who actually gave approval for their comments to be seen tonight. So appreciate that. What's up, Gustavo? What's up, Alex? Hope you're doing well, guys. Appreciate you being here. We got the yeet going on, but he hasn't given anybody permission. So I don't see, let me jump in my Facebook chat real quick. So I don't see the one guy we're waiting for to start the show, but he is at a dinner. So when he pops in, we will bring him on. So I'm going to start with Mr. Charles Lathan. This is our presenting sponsor for the Southern Division Lake Hartwell. And Charles, how are you, buddy?
Well, I was hoping to get warmed up first and not be the first one. Gee, thanks.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the way it goes. People lose service, people don't get a link, and here you are, man.
Hey, well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, listen, man, it's the first year you've jumped on with Queen City as a supporter, and I want to thank you personally in front of everybody watching. I really do appreciate you coming on, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to share your business with the club and anybody who's going to watch this over the next few days, and tell us what you do, where you do it, and how we can get in touch with you.
Yes, we have a Facebook page. We do most of our communications through that. That's technical stuff that I have zero clue about, but Tiffany does. We do business in the greater South Carolina area. We do everything. There's commercial, residential, farm. We do it all.
Awesome.
Been doing it for, I think it's the 2nd generation. I want to say she's probably going to kill me because she made some notes for me to read. And if she's watching this, sorry, didn't even look at them. It's 40 plus years, I believe it is. The company's been going now.
And you are the owner of the company currently?
No, Tiffany's the owner. I'm just a silent partner yep, she is the owner. Tiffany Gillespie is the owner.
So So we'll
yeah.
get that Facebook page shared. Obviously, we've tagged it a few times with the event, but we'll get that shared again when we post this video. So if you're looking for fence services in the greater South Carolina area, Charles Lathan would be the man to contact. How far north do you come?
As far as your way,
Yeah,
Spartanburg.
Spartanburg. Okay. A lot of people think I actually live in North Carolina. I am a South Carolina resident, but not as far down as
You
you.
live in Blacksburg, I believe it is, isn't it?
I'm right above Blacksburg. I'm 30 miles above that. I'm in Rock Hill, Newport, Clover, that little triangle right there.
Yeah, I got you.
So
we're based out of Pickens, South Carolina. So Spartanburg is like hour and some change drive for us one way.
Okay. Pickens by good old Kiwi, buddy. Like that lake.
That's the secret. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good since I ain't been able to fish Hartwell the last few weeks.
And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. These new off-limit rules for the national events, they've changed the way people practice. They've changed the way people schedule. So it's I think it's okay. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And I know in your situation you'd rather be out there fishing on home water, but we got to keep the playing field as level as we can as directors. So I think it's a welcome change for most of the field. But are you going to be fishing the Queen City South Side this weekend or next weekend?
I'm fishing both.
So you'll be man-powered. You'll be man-powered.
Yeah, I'm always man-powered. I don't want a motor.
So alongside of Queen City South, we're also going to have South Carolina Bass Nation, and that's going to be one event combined with Georgia Bass Nation. And then on top of that, we're going to have the Bass Kayak Series Open on Lake Hartwell. So there is 3 different events that you can jump into. There are some memberships that have to be paid, but the nation events are recruiting events. So these are events where you don't actually have to be a nation member. So you can save a few bucks there and still qualify for state championships. It's a great get-together event. Last season, as an angler, I was lucky enough to qualify for Lake Seminole for the Georgia State Championship and also Santee Cooper with the South Carolina State Championship, all in one day. So I'm hoping guys take advantage of that and have a good time and then fish for potentially $13,000, $14,000 on the open side, which is awesome. We just got off fishing for $9,000 on Santee. So this is an awesome back-to-back opportunity for these guys. Pretty excited about that. All right, so I still don't have Neil here, but we'll keep moving as if he's coming in a little while. Somebody here says going to be a big turnout, so we'll see, and we'll talk about some of the holdups that might happen here on the Queen City side this weekend. But Charles, anything you want to say about the lake? What you're anticipating as far as total inches? The type of fish that are going to win this tournament. Anything you can maybe give to the general public without giving away your secrets?
The first big wave, spawn wave, has done happened. So there's going to be fish caught in different areas, pre, post, everything.
Nice.
I'd say you'd have to have at least the low 90s to compete on a 5
across
fish
one
tournament.
day.
Low
5
90s
fish
to mid 90s.
Low 90s.
Yep.
Oh, did the man just walk in? The man just came in. So I think that's fair. I think low to mid 90s will get it done. And if you can do that over 2 days, I think you'll go home with an extremely large check and a blue trophy. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
What do you think for a 4 fish limit?
4 fish limit, I'm going to say somewhere in that 77 inches, somewhere around there. I think we have extremely heavy hitters.
Going to pull the magic number. I'm gonna go 82. I'm gonna go 82.
82 from the homer. Somebody said weather permitting. Well, we should already tell them what Queen City weather brings. Cool.
No,
well, Charles, thanks for being here, buddy. You're lagging a little bit. What'd you say?
Thank you.
Oh man, I will. I'll see you in town Friday night.
Okay.
Take care, buddy.
See you.
Awesome having another sponsor on. He's an absolute hammer. He's going to be someone we're going to have to keep an eye on. But I know somebody who's in backstage is in a little bit. He's at a dinner, so I want to get him in here quickly so he can get back to his family. Mr. Neil Paul with Visit Anderson has jumped in the stream. So, Neil, good seeing you, buddy. How are you?
Vinny, what's up? How are you, man?
Oh, we're doing well over here in Queen City, man.
It's always fun when you and I get to talk because we're generally talking about fishing, and the fishing's always good when you're around. So it's a perfect match.
I appreciate that. It has been a really good relationship we've had for the last 3 seasons. We've been able to come there in great times of the year. And actually, believe it or not, opposite of what I just said, the weather's been phenomenal when we come down to Anderson. So knock on wood, because we know how quickly that can change. But Neil, my side of the club, obviously they know who you are. You were in the building the last time we were down there. But for anybody who watches this over the next few days, let everybody know who you are, what you do, what organization you work for or with, and fill them in.
Yeah, thank you, Vinny, and thank you for this opportunity. So, for those out there that are new and maybe this, or some that maybe this is a refresher, my name is Neil Paul. I'm the executive director at Visit Anderson, which is the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the destination marketing organization for Anderson County and here in the upstate of South Carolina. Our greatest asset to our community has been Lake Hartwell. Lake Hartwell has been a tremendous asset to our community. It's kind of, I know this sounds kind of corny, but when I became the director at Visit Anderson in 2015, I knew just enough fishing to be dangerous. I believed in the lake and what we do. And Anderson County had just opened Green Pond Landing in December of 2014. Now, you guys as kayak anglers, you don't get the full benefit of Green Pond Landing because one of the great things about kayak fishing is that you have the ability to launch your vessel anywhere that there's public access. But for those of you that don't know Green Pond and haven't experienced Green Pond, it's a 30-acre multi-million-dollar facility on Lake Hartwell that was designed and built for hosting fishing tournaments. It's a fully ADA compliant facility. It's the most dock space on Lake Hartwell. It's the deepest launch lanes on Lake Hartwell for boats. It's there's 200 paved spaces for trucks and trailers. There's 100 spectator spaces. There's a 1,300 seat amphitheater. There's a state-of-the-art restroom facility that was built with South Carolina DNR funding to the tune of about $600,000. You don't often go to a boat ramp and see a $500,000 bathroom facility, but that's just it speaks to the level of commitment that our community's made to anglers and to fishing, and as kayak fishing has really exploded on the scene the last handful of years. It's obviously a game that I'm probably some at fault for this, but I think we were a little late to the table. But as we've come to the table, and honestly, Vinny, and this isn't just me blowing smoke up your leg. I mean, you guys are really the ones that help make that happen for us, and your commitment to our community and Queen City's involvement in coming down here and having events at Anderson continuously, even when you weren't being supported locally, speaks to what you guys have done. It also speaks to the fishery. But as we've gotten to know one another and develop our relationship, it's one of the things that highlights our calendar every year now.
Yeah, so something you didn't mention about Green Pond is that there's also awesome fish right there. Like I've cashed multiple checks out of that access point. That check right above that Hobie check is actually at a Green Pond with the Grady's tournament. I don't know how many years ago, but it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. It's not your usual boat ramp. I mean, it's amazing. So awesome there. We love the lake. I love working with you. I do appreciate the kind words, and I plan on coming to Hartwell as long as we can possibly come to Hartwell. There's no reason to not come. It's within 2 hours, give or take, for most people. maybe 2.5 for some of the guys who live up north. It's huge. It has a ton of access points. We have 2 states that we can work together, South Carolina and Georgia. We have amazing support from the city. Visit Anderson. You guys always take care of us. I love that hotel venue. I'm assuming that's where we'll be next month as well. So lucky you get us twice in like 3 weeks. You get us April 15th, and then you get us again on May 6th for our trail event. So looking forward to being down there for sure.
Absolutely. And again, it's always a great time. And too, I want to make sure that you get credit where credit is deserved. And that's, you've done just a great job of educating me on the kayak game as well, because listen, I'm not, admittedly so, like I'm not a kayak angler, and it's not because of any faults or anything like that. I just, due to my schedule and my work commitments and things, my fishing opportunities are limited. And so most of my experiences come out of a bass boat or off of a dock somewhere. But I, you get a lot of credit in this too, for just spending the time with me on the phone and spending the time with me when we're together to help educate me on this game, so to speak. So thank you for that. And again, the opportunity, but I look forward to having you guys. I think twice in 3 weeks, we may not know how to behave ourselves,
No, we're going to get a little silly, I think, up there. Have some good barbecue. And that's
That's
what you
right.
had last year, didn't you? You had a barbecue cookout or cook-off. You
That's
had to
right.
go judge.
That's right. No, it was the chili cook-off.
The chili cook-off.
It was the chili cook-off I had to judge last year, and my gallbladder was donated to the hospital years ago, but I think my body's going to be grateful that I passed on that opportunity this year.
Well, look, Neil, I know you stepped out of dinner. Hopefully it wasn't too much of an important dinner to jump in with us. I don't want to keep you. I really do appreciate you jumping on here.
No, thank you for the opportunity. Like I said, look forward to seeing you guys next week. And let me just say this one thing before you kick me out of here. I think one of the things as a community that, I tell people this all the time, and this applies to you guys as well. We understand, like, we're blessed with the facilities and we're blessed with the community that we have here, but we also recognize that we're not the only place with a lake, and places that have lakes have ways to get boats in the water and have access points for people to fish. And the way that we've continued, I believe wholeheartedly that the way that we've continued to set ourselves apart from others is the way that we treat you when you're here. And so what I want to share with you, and what I'll share with the group next week, and then with your folks again in early May, is I want to make sure that you have a great experience when you're in our community. So my door's always open, my phone's always available. And if you guys need anything, if there's anything that you need while you're in town, if you experience something that you need help with, or if there's something that we can do to help make your visit a great visit rather than just a good visit, like, I want to know. And if you go home and you just had a good visit, and you go home and you didn't tell me about it, then I can't do anything about it. So I want to know, because I want to make sure you guys have a great experience when you're here. And that's our commitment, not just to you guys, but to anybody in the angling community that comes to Anderson. So I look forward to having you guys, and look forward to seeing each one of you in the weeks to come.
Well, thank you, buddy. And I look forward to seeing you in a week and a half or so. And we'll get some good pictures in front of the banner and shake some good hands.
Absolutely, Vinny. And I hope your family's well. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for the opportunity to jump in and be a part of this. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Neil. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Man, we at Queen City have been absolutely surrounded by amazing city support over the last couple months. We started out in March with Vicky from Lake Murray Country. She came on the podcast. She came to the venue, and she was one of the nicest people I've ever met. And then this whole weekend, we share space with Jesse down at Clarendon County. And Jesse is on another level. He is literally rolling out the red carpet for AJ and I. Everything we needed was there. Everything we needed help with, he got. We were joking that he literally got Wi-Fi installed for us because the service down there is a little rough. And he was like, yeah, man, we installed it just for you guys to come down. So, and then you get Neil tonight, who we've been working with for a few years. You know, that relationship was built through our Hobie Bass Open Series connection a few years ago when we went down to Hartwell. So he's amazing to work with, and I know he'll be at these events, and I'm super excited to see him again. So somebody's saying it's a $400 to pre-fish for the QC Main Hartwell event. Pretty much, but the beauty is you can also qualify through the South. So come win some money. You might get enough points to qualify through the Southern Division for the TOC as well. So you never know. Should have held them to the barbecue. I'm definitely going to get some barbecue in town. So there is a lot going on at this event to the cue of that $400 comment. So South Carolina, Georgia Bass Nation together, Queen City South, and then Bass Open. And I know I mentioned earlier that we have one of the best directors in the game here tonight. So I'm going to bring him on, and I'm essentially just going to introduce him and throw the mic at him, and I'm going to let him tell you who he is, how long he's been doing this, what position he just started in this season, how many people he had at Gunnersville, and then what he's bringing us here to the beautiful South Carolina Lake Hartwell. So Mr. Steve Owens, how are you, baby?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm enjoying hanging out with the star-studded cast tonight.
Yeah. Hey, not to go too deep into it, but like, you just talked with Neil, and obviously, man, you can't describe how good a human he is, period. You saw it in everything that he just said. Everything's so genuine. We've been around him quite a bit, and I met him years ago with Jamie. For those of you who don't know, I do purchasing for Dugout, Bait and Tackle as well. So we were at ICAST doing that, and Neil was there. And Jamie said, hey, you need to meet this guy. And so I walked over and hung out with him, and we all talked for half hour or so, and that just started that relationship. Yourself, me, AJ, and the other good directors across the country, we're good at our jobs, but we can't do this without Neil Paul, people like that, because he, like he just said, he told you, and I know you've taken advantage of it like I have. When you call him, I mean, he'll leave the house and come and take care of whatever needs to be done. And that goes a long way. Yeah. It makes our jobs easier. There's times we joke as anglers, I'm still this much angler. Like someone said recently, someone said recently, it was like, well, Hobie's going back to Seminole. And I was like, so? I mean, have you ever fished Seminole? You want to go to Seminole every single year. And Hartwell is one of those places too. Like, I know you guys having, Queen City is its own deal. We've always, back 5-6 years ago when you were smaller, it's like, it's the best grassroots club in the country. Well, no, I think you probably were grassroots about 1 year. And then after that, you just took it to that next level. And I told you, I reached out to you quite often over the last 5-6 years, and everything that I've gotten to be able to work for and with and build is because I do have relationships with people like you and Neil and AJ and everybody else. So, man, I say it all the time. I'm probably the most blessed man in this sport because I have all of you people at my disposal to help with all the things, So, but and real quick, I'll go to your question. Creekside Barbecue.
No, real quick, this is your time.
No. Creekside Barbecue. My buddy Kuth and I at the Hobie College event, I ran up there on Hartwell. We went to Creekside Barbecue, and it freaking blew my socks off.
All right, so that's where we're going. Creekside Barbecue.
Yeah, it wasn't too far from the hotel there. But as you said, I'm Steve Owens, and I run Tennessee and Georgia Bass Nation Kayak Series with my partner Daniel Davis, and me and him and Ryan Lambert and a couple others have Tennessee Valley Kayak Anglers on Lake Chickamauga. I work for Dugout Bait and Tackle, and this year, I was able to go full-time into the industry here, and when I took a job with the Bassmaster Kayak Series. So, it's kind of helped get that off the ground in year one with John Stewart and Dwayne Wally and Tyler Cole and some other people, Patrick Malone. And, I had to step away just because I didn't have time off from work. My normal job. I had a great job, phenomenal job, and looked like an idiot leaving that to go do fishing for a living, but I'm happy I did it. It was the right choice. And, this is brought back in. This is, I think, year number 4 of the Bassmaster Series, I think. I've probably been tournament directing 7 or 8 years because no, this is the third year. This is the third year. Yeah. I keep thinking 4 championships because we had the Birmingham Open, and then we had the Classic, and then just this one in Knoxville. So, but anyway, we had Texas, South Carolina, and then the Knoxville one. So in my mind, we're going into year 4, but we're actually not. So But yeah, it's been really good. You know, when I got hired on, it was immediately people got behind me and supported my decision, and thankfully the series. Our first event was Lake Guntersville, 1st of March, and mind you, you know, all of the numbers that we all have are people fishing all 3 major series and trying to do them all. So, you know, we had 235 on Guntersville in our first event, and that was on the tail end of people fishing, you know, Harris Chain, Hobie, and the KBF event and all that. So, I mean, you know, a gentleman just made a joke about $400 to pre-fish. Yeah, it's you know, we're and something I had to get in my head about tournament fishing is the money's just the money. Doesn't matter. But
you're right.
Throw it down because look behind your shoulder. You know, you spent $300 and won $3,000 the other day, you know? So, and I know that's what that person meant. We're all making jokes about it and everything, but it's gotten more expensive. That's why, you know, I feel it's important to streamline everything as much as we can so that time commitment from the angler is very minor at a registration, and then it can get back to the house if they're just coming in, you know, hot off of a red eye or something like that. But we got to find that balance to make sure that the information is there for the anglers when they get it. So,
can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to touch on what you said. You know, these are anglers who are fishing all 3 series. You know, that only happens when directors work together. That could be such a disaster where all these events are overlapping, and wherein one event is happening in Texas on Saturday and the other event's happening in Louisiana on Saturday, and we have a clash, and these events, they water each other down and cancel each other out. But you, AJ, I'm assuming Hoover's involved. You guys have been able to spread stuff out accordingly, hardly ever overlapping. And if you are, it's across the country. And I just want to applaud you for that. I think that's really awesome. And if this somehow makes it to any other directors that are listening, if you have a series in your state that is running events, it doesn't help anyone to overlap. You're hurting both clubs at the same time when you overlap. And we ran into that a few times this year already, where clubs are overlapping our events, you know, and you guys are doing it on a national level and not overlapping. I just applaud you for that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It kind of came by, well, obviously we had to make an intentional, you know, move to do that. But with me coming into Bassmaster so late in the year, it was after the last event, you know, of their season. And so around October-ish, you know, I had to come up with a schedule, you know, but you know, with KBF and Hobie schedules already being out, and yours for all intents and purposes, I had it because you'd sent it to me, thinking of this in mind. It was frustrating because as I'm reaching out to cities, you know, I have to sell them on a kayak tournament because, like Neil just said, Neil arguably is the best chamber person in the country, and you know, it took years for you and myself and some others to educate him on, you know, why we need to be here. And man, I can't help it. I've been that way my whole life.
I was waiting to see
it. But anyway, yeah. So long story short, you know, it's frustrating, but all of the schedules already being out helped me dance around everybody else. And absolutely, I don't want to have to do that next year. I mean, I hope one of mine are one of the ones that gets out early and for 2024. But yeah, we're off to a good start, and it's, you know, like you just mentioned, how I got good at scheduling was like here in Tennessee, our grassroots is cast. We have 11 clubs across the country. So we try to dance around one another so that we can commingle and fish other bodies of water, because our state championship moves every year and it's hosted by different clubs. So, you know, if we know, like this year, John McClenny and Matt Bogle are hosting it on Tim's Ford. So in June, you know, TVKA and 2 other of the grassroots club are having a joint event up there so that we can get a little bit of familiarity to it and everything. And
nice.
But yeah, yeah, it's not easy. But at the end of the day, man, it's just numbers. So, there's always a solution there. You just have
Yep.
to keep checking the boxes. And then you want to provide, because if you want me to go ahead and get into it, explain kind of what the Bassmaster Series is. So, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Bassmaster Series, it's 5 events across the country as best as we could geographically do it. This year, the last few years, the numbers and the attendance have been pretty bad. So we needed to restructure and do some things. And in order to do that, I needed to put 5 events in a geographic location where we could draw anglers. And so obviously with Queen City and then the other Southeast clubs, we're going to get that. So we're going to, after this event, we'll be going to Possum Kingdom. Texas always shows up and shows out. La Crosse always had really good attendance. Susquehanna always has a really good attendance when the Hobies go there. The grassroots clubs up there always have really good stuff. And then, I want to get another event or two if we can, to help get that footprint geographically spread out so that we can cater to where anglers aren't driving 20 hours to every national event. But right now, this year, that was all I had the opportunity to do, and it may be that way next year. I'm not sure, but if it's ever done that way, it's not because I want it to be that way. I love to travel, so I get to go to all these places that you do too. So, from that series, each event, the top 5 will qualify for the Bassmaster Championship in 2024. Other ways to qualify for that are the Dakota Lithium Angler of the Year standings. It's a top 50 after those top 5. So now we're at 75 anglers. And then like North Carolina Bass Nation, Georgia. Go ahead.
Are there any drops, or is it all 5 events for AOY?
Oh, for AOY, it's 3. I was meaning your AOY points. Yeah, your best 3 AOY points will get you your cumulative average to make it to that championship. Yeah. And then so the third option after your top 5 finish or your Dakota Lithium Angler of the Year standings based off of 3 events would be to fish the Bass Nation Series. So this is where it's been confusing for a lot of years for people is because the series was kind of called the Bassmaster Bass Nation Kayak Series. And it was just it just did this. It just muddied everything. So there's the Bassmaster Open Series. And then you have Bass Nation, like North Carolina Bass Nation, Georgia Bass Nation, South Carolina Bass Nation. So each Bass Nation can either have a one-of open style championship, their state championship, or a legitimate trail season, if you can do that with scheduling. Who can anymore, hardly. And then from that state championship, you will get 10% of the field or 10% of your registered anglers for that year. So if your event has 60 anglers in it, you get 6 people to qualify for the Bassmaster Classic Championship. If you have 85 people in there with 70 registered members from your state, you now get still that 8. So if you have 130 registered members and 80 in that state championship, you get 13 places to award out of that pool of 80 at a state championship. So that's a little confusing. I'll sort that out at the end of the year. You just get me your numbers and your state championship standings, and we'll get it to what's the most popular there. And that works, everyone. The Bass Nation, I can go through and look. I had it written down, but I don't have that notepad with me. The top 10 Bassmaster Championship winners, I want to say 8 of them came from the Bass Nation Trail Series. It wasn't the Opens. So that, I mean, these people, 10th place was Joseph Gayton. He's the Georgia Bass Nation Angler of the Year. He actually won the Hartwell event last year with you guys. The Georgia Bass Nation side, he had 100 inches. And so, that was just a one-day event. And in second place was Tom Kazmierski with 90 inches, and Saturday Mel was third, I think. So, but to speak to the South Carolina, North Carolina folks, I think it was 12 of the top 15 finished, in the Georgia Bass Nation. You had a lot of your guys, unfortunately had to choose between the QC Championship and the Georgia Bass Nation State Championship to go. And I know you ended up having to miss it yourself, and I hate that, but we'll continue to grow all of that. The state level is where you get to control that. You don't have to use the Bassmaster rules. You can draft your own rules, run it however you want. But the Bassmaster Series is designed, obviously, to help us get to professional level as much as we can. Use that Bassmaster stage to broadcast anglers, which helps them with marketing and sponsor, outreach, hopefully. And so that's the Bassmaster Kayak Series, and just it costs $15 a year to join. I think after that, after year one, I think it renews for $30 a year. But you get a magazine with that. And then after that, it's $250 entry fee, and it's we pay the top 10% of the field. It's an 80-20 split. Bassmaster's a business; it's 20% for them to operate. But this year, from that, they're actually paying the Tourney X and stripe fees out of that. So something new this year, something that was the key to me taking this job, was the registration process, because it was a nightmare beforehand. You had to go to Bassmaster if the website was up and running and pay with your credit card. And then Dwayne was emailed your name and he had to add you manually. And it created, a lot. And so this year you just literally sign up on Tourney X like any normal event. The money is processed through me and my Stripe account, and we're done. And then once the event's done, 24-hour protest period is there. Typically on Tuesday morning, I get up, check my email. There's no protest filed. I'll go ahead and send you your money, either Venmo, PayPal, or I'll cut you a check and mail it to you, whatever it is that you want. So typically paid within, 2 days of the event there.
So I wanted to just touch on the Bass Nation deal. So South Carolina Bass Nation has been really easy to work with this year. For the guys listening and who will listen, they are running alongside us for numerous events throughout our South Carolina series. So that's been so easy for the guys to jump in and out of. They are giving the Queen City South division 3 seats into the state championship. So the top 3 guys from the South Carolina division will automatically qualify for that state championship. And they're going to be down there, obviously, fishing alongside of us for Hartwell. So if you're somebody like myself who is chasing that series and, maybe trying to win AOI or qualify for the state championship, we're wrapping it all up into one this weekend. And like Steve O said, you also have the opportunity to qualify for the Georgia state championship. And I don't know the answer to this. Have you released the location on the Georgia state championship?
It'll be Seminole again. What I do in Tennessee and Georgia is I do the state championship back-to-back, same lake, so that if the last year was your first year, you're not learning a brand new lake every year. Since it's a travel tournament, a lot of people in the Bass Nation side can't afford to have a whole week to pre-fish, so they're just coming in with one day or blind. So you get a little bit of familiarity with your event for cool. 2 years at least. So
that's good. I didn't know that, so that's good.
Yeah. And
so we were talking some numbers earlier. I'd like to hear what you think you're going to pull on Hartwell this weekend or next week. I keep saying this weekend. This show is usually on the Monday of tournament week. So, and we'll talk about why it's not on the Monday of tournament week, Mr. Steve-O. It's for you, so we'll talk about that here in a second. But how many do you think you're going to have down on the beautiful Hartwell?
Man, I'm awful. I projected 150, 160 on gunners when we had 235. And the Bassmaster Championship on Chick, I figured we'd have about 85, 90. We had 134. So, man, I'm awful. I would be over the moon at 140. I feel like that would be my opinion in a rebuild year. So I don't know.
So I don't know if your guys are like my guys and they all sign up right before the deadline or cutoff, but you're already sitting at 92. So I'm pretty confident. Yeah, I just pulled it up. So I'm pretty confident that you're going to hit that 140 once these Queen City guys watch this tonight and jump in. So, and you probably have a few more on there that are inactive, if I had to guess, coming from the director side. All right, so tell the guys why we had to come on tonight and hype this up, and we couldn't wait until next Monday. So when is the deadline for this event?
Right now, the deadline is on Friday, the week before an event, because official practice starts on Saturday. So that's why we had it this week. And before I forget, because I've forgotten it 3 times, like you mentioned, we're doing the Georgia and South Carolina Bass Nation recruiting event as well. We also, Old Town is my Georgia Bass Nation sponsor this year. So we're giving away $250 to anyone in that event. It'll just be a random drawing like we do everything else. And so that'll be $250 per event. I backed up and I have a Seminole winner. That'll be announced as quick as the check goes into my bank account. And then this next weekend, we will do that for Hartwell. And then we'll finish the season out, 250 per tournament. We got 5 in Georgia. And the state championship, I'll have $1,250 left over. And I'll probably split that up into 5 people as well that finish outside the money. And
is that just a random draw?
It's going to be random. Yeah. Your entry fee and showing up for these, I require you to show up for that. And then, and I'll do, we get I want to get the name right. A 120 PDL that'll be awarded as well at the state championship. So
sweet.
Yeah. So
sweet. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we'll
like you said, the recruiting event, you don't have to have Bass Nation dues. So if you're from wherever and you're traveling in and you want to triple dip into all of our tournaments, the Georgia and South Carolina Bass Nation, you don't have to have a membership of anything to fish this standalone event. So
I'm just going to throw a little asterisk in there. If you're chasing your points and your state qualification through South Carolina Bass Nation, Zach and Brent, you're going to have to be a full nation member for that prior to casting for this event. So if you're just someone coming in and trying to win money, nothing's required. If you're someone coming in trying to qualify through South Carolina, you'll have to be a fully paid nation member.
Right. Like if you're from Indiana and you don't have a nation club and you want to get those AOI points, yeah, that's a good point. Correct.
Yep. So, and Queen City has no membership required. Feel free to sign up and fish right alongside everybody else. For those of you who end up watching this that don't know anything about Queen City, we are, and Steve-O, I'd love for you to share this with your bass crowd if that's cool.
Yep.
But we are $1,000 minimum guarantee, but realistically, it's probably going to be closer to $1,500. I mean, maybe even more. We paid out, it was almost $1,500 for first plus big bass at Lake Murray. So they went home with $1,700 and change. So, and our entry fee is $65. Here's the hang up. Here's where I bash my own self. We are a man-powered event, and we will remain a man-powered event for this one, even though this is one that it makes sense to go motors. But we are a man-powered event. So if you are fishing the Bassmaster Kayak Series Open man-powered, then feel free to double dip with us. If you're not, then we fully understand, and it's just what we got to do. We got to stick to our roots, and we'll see what the future holds for maybe this relationship, if this is a relationship that we keep moving forward. But right now, we're going to stick to the hammies and the quads next week.
Hammies and the quads, yeah. Yeah, and I meant to message you to put that over on the Bassmaster page so I could approve the link. I put the Georgia and South Carolina up today, so Zach had emailed me, and sadly, I just, with everything else we got going on, I forgot to put SC in the description there, so the SC guys couldn't find it. So it's in there now, though. So
cool.
Yeah. Cool. And so, and again, like you, we've got tons of prizes. I mean, in Georgia Bass Nation, we've got Dugout Bait and Tackle, Yamamoto, Bill Lewis, Seagar, obviously, like I said, Old Town Cash. We've got G-Socks. When you guys see the G-Socks covers, they're pretty legit. You'll like those. No more treble hooks, umbrella rigs stuck in your back or anything like that. I'm forgetting because we've got so many, but we got choke lures. Benjamin, they make the choke lures, makes great swim bait. We've got those. We give away a couple of those. So
cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it as a fisherman. I am going to fish your side and the South Carolina and Georgia side. I was lucky enough last year to cash in both. Actually, no, I didn't cash. Hell, I don't know. I finished 4th and 12th. I cashed on one side for sure, and I qualified through both. So I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Coming back for redemption. I'm going to try to take down G-Man for sure.
Yeah, but, and it's a 10% payout to Georgia Bass Nation is. So
cool.
Yeah. So we were able to do 100% payout last year. I don't think I could do that this year. But each event that I do get, the support I need to cover everything that we pay for, trophies and all that. And that's another thing. We didn't bring up the big blue trophies. Those trophies are pretty killer. Smitty got to see them on Gunnersville. So Yeah.
So how many trophies do you have? Because really, that's all I care about.
Yeah, that's it. We've got first, second, and third, and then we've got fourth and fifth get the medallions.
Okay, so I got to be top 5 to get some hardware. Sounds good.
Yep. And then Georgia Bass Nation, we've got 3, and then our Sniper Marine Big Bass.
Sweet.
Yep. So
sweet. All right. Well, so let me reiterate. Friday night, you need to be signed up. That is the cutoff at this moment. So Queen City guys, if you're thinking about coming down and fishing your man-powered kayak on the Bassmaster side, spend that extra $250 for a shot at your another home Carolina National Series event. You guys saw what Chad just did. We all know Chad is really not that good of an angler, and he was first place in the Hobie Bass Open Series. So if he can do it, anybody can do it. Chad, I'm just kidding, buddy. I love you. But, I think these guys really need to consider – I know it's expensive, and like you and I said before, it is a lot of money. But they're getting the hometown opportunity to fish in this big stuff. I'm really hoping they take advantage of it and we smash your 140 goal, honestly.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's if you're doing this, you're obviously a competitor anyway. And I've always hung out around the hyper competitive, but too nervous to do it kind of thing. And one year I just went in, and I did and finished, second in the BOS on Gunnersville, and that got me to the TOC, which congratulations to you making it again.
Thank you,
that's awesome. But once you get to an event like that, like with the Bassmaster Championship, those 10 guys backstage have been a part of 2 of those. Man, it's nuts. Like at Ouachita, just having us 50 in a room, we had Aganelli and all them there. But man, you
just like Nelly, no big deal.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, but man, you're just.
That's I signed my jersey.
That's awesome.
And now I got Ike permanently in the freaking room.
Put down there under the desk. Yeah.
That's my boy.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's genuine with the kayaking, but getting to go to one of those championships and be a part of them, you just realize, what we're doing, because you get to see how special your accomplishment is that you've been working on all year long and everything. And but for me, what made me get into it then was because AJ's one of my good friends, and I didn't want to fish, and I was just like, man, it's hot, I don't want to go down there, fool with the bugs and this, that, and the other, but went, and we ended up having a blast, and it's the so just I challenge everybody to do it at least once or twice, and you don't want to be one of those people that catches that you don't sign up for the little tag bass thing and then you catch the tag bass. Don't not sign up for one of these events and fish one of the one day events and crack 102.
Yep.
And then you just literally, because on Gunnersville we had 235 people that paid $13,000 to first place, $7,000 to second. That's a lot. That's a lot of money that you could do, and you can be one and done. You can qualify like you did, and then that takes a lot of pressure off of the rest of your season. Like Russ Snyder's mentioned, qualifying early makes it to where now he doesn't have to think, I can't blow this event, I've got to get these Angler of the Year points. No, now he's in. Yep. He can chase the money for Angler of the Year, but he can swing for the fence and try to win as many of these as he can every year. So
pretty sure he swings for the fence with every cast.
Dude, yeah, that's just it. He's nonstop.
Human. Yeah, he's not human.
He's not. It's crazy. Somebody that little and compact, he's got to be made out of elastic material. It's like he's got those green stem bones still, like kids have. He's just nonstop. So, yeah.
Well, Steve-O, I really do appreciate you coming on our little show here. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you for a few days. We'll be in the same room Friday night, guys. We'll have all the Queen City banners up, all the Bassmaster banners up. It'll be a fun evening. I'm sure we'll be joking around and laughing a good bit outside of the serious work we have to do. But I'll travel safe. I know it's not too bad of a drive for you down here, but travel safe, and I'll see you Friday next week.
All right. I'll see all y'all later. And anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate. Don't assume. Just reach out to me like Vinny. We're always available, and we want to get it right for you so that you can show up and and cash a check. So thank all of you for listening and the support we've gotten so far this season.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
All right, see y'all later. Thanks.
All right, well, there it is. So that's why we're off schedule tonight due to the cutoff. I wanted to do it Monday. Steve-O was like, well, it'll be locked. And I was like, well, then we can't do it Monday. So we did it tonight. We want you all to sign up. I have made it very clear that I understand if you don't fish the Queen City side due to the motor deal. I get it. So we as Queen City really are not benefiting from this event per se, but we want to give you the opportunity to be on that national stage, national spotlight, get yourself a big check, get yourself a championship seat, maybe get yourself a blue trophy. And we want you to do it here on our beautiful lakes down in South Carolina. So speaking of all that nationalness and amazing anglers, I have one of the best backstage. We have Kurt Smits, a.k.a. Smitty, back here. And he's made sure to show us his Hobie checks in the background as well. And all his other BOS stuff there. But what's up, Smitty? How are you, man?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you being here and being patient. You've been sitting back here for 52 minutes. I'm sorry, but thank you.
No, man, you got good guests, man. You know,
Star-studded tonight for sure.
Oh, absolutely, dude. You're on here.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Congratulations too for your high performance just recently.
Thank you, buddy. Looking forward to seeing you at another TOC. I'm sure you'll be there right alongside me. I see the cups behind you. I see the cups. What'd you end up this weekend? I don't even think I got to run into you this weekend.
I had a horrible weekend, man. Swamps just aren't my my forte. I keep coming down to them, you know, but I just don't get along with them as well as you do.
So you're saying deep, clear water lakes are your thing? Is that what I just heard? Oh,
maybe.
So got it.
Man, if anyone's on the fence about Hartwell, they really do need to sign up because Hartwell is like one of the funnest lakes to fish, man. I mean, You got spotted bass, you got largemouth. I mean, who doesn't like the little missiles? I mean, those spotted bass down there are missiles.
Yeah. I do think this is the kind of event where you could catch 30 fish. Not sure you'll cut a check if you're around 30 fish like that, but you could be busy start to finish all weekend on Hartwell this time of the year. You know, last year or 2 years ago with the BOS event and then last year with the bass event, I was catching them all day long. And whether you cut a check or not after a weekend full of that, how are you mad?
That's fun, man. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's
you
fun.
Come home, got 100 fish in the boat, and you're happy. So I think it's going to be a good time. I'm pretty sure we'll have some decent numbers on our side. I do think Steve-O is going to pull 200 some odd people. So I'm looking forward to it all.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be big. It's going to be big.
Tell us about your experience on the road. Let everybody know who you are, where you fish, what you do, where you live. You know, who's Smitty? This is an interview of Smitty right now.
Kurt Smits, KBF 2017 national champion. Fished a lot of the Hobie events. Fished bass events. Fish your events. I just like fishing, man. I like fishing good events. You know, and I gotta say something. You had Steve-O on, and you're on here. Thank you guys for running the tournaments because I ask a lot of stupid questions. Steve-O just answers my questions, even though I could answer them myself. You know, but see, he just, you know, he's a nice guy. So I really appreciate good tournament people who run the tournaments that are really good at it because you guys put up with me.
Well, I would just tell you to check the files tab, to be completely honest with you. That's because I have to say it at least once every episode.
Exactly.
No, we appreciate the shout out, man. We love doing it. We wouldn't do it if we didn't love it. So, you know, it's a good time giving you all an opportunity to do what you love. And like he said, he's still a little bit of an angler. I got to scout a little angler, and it just so happens that I get to do it twice in April, and then I'm not sure when I'll do it again after that. But it'll be a fun one. Be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this event, man. This is something I look every time I hear about Hartwell and it's on the schedule. I always try to make it.
How many times have you been down here?
I've only been twice. That's it.
For BOS and what else?
BOS and just fun fishing one time.
Oh, sweet. What's your drive?
It's like 8 hours or 7 hours, I think.
It's not so
Kind
bad.
of depends where you go on the lake, right? The lake's gigantic.
The lake's huge.
I mean, it's almost an hour from north to south on the lake. So, I mean, it could be 8, could be 7. I mean, wherever you want to fish, you know.
Yeah. So, tell us your base knowledge of the lake. What are you anticipating seeing? Do you think it's going to be a largemouth bite? Do you think it's going to be a spotted bite? A little bit of both?
I think both are going to play. I think some guys are going to go shallow. It really depends where the spawn is, you know, in where we find ourselves in between the waves, or where the wave of the spawn is coming. Are we going to be in front of one, behind one, during one? I think we're going to find fish at all stages too, you know. So I just think it's going to be a wild ride. That's what's going to be so interesting is some guys I think will probably find them somewhere on beds, and then someone's going to fish spotted bass and catch some long, skinny spotted bass, you know, and then come up with a big bag. And then I think some guys will be doing both.
So I'm looking up when the next full moon is and why I'm struggling to find that. The next full moon will be on Thursday, April 6th. That would be tomorrow. But is that true? That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so then we're probably going to miss a phase tomorrow because we know they like to move with the moon during this time of year. So if you were listening earlier, Charles said the first wave is done. So we're probably going to miss a little bit of the second wave, if I had to guess, tomorrow into this weekend. So it could be really interesting. We might get on a nice feisty post-spawn bite, maybe even a little shad spawn bite. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
They were flicking up around on Santee, man.
That's crazy to hear. I mean, that's so early for me.
I didn't find it, but I had reports of it, of a little shad spawn going on. So I think it could be happening. The crazy thing about Hartwell is we've gone down there in June, and people catch them on beds. So there's no telling. There really is no telling. And I'm not sure where you stand on this. You know, how many waves of the spawn are there really? Do they spawn?
I was just about to say that, man. Especially on Hartwell, because those fingers are so long and so far apart, and they are just dramatically different. They're just the temperatures will be dramatically different. The conditions will be dramatic. I mean, you might get rain on the east side of the lake, but not the west side. You know, so it's just. I just think that's what makes Hartwell the wild ride that it always is, no matter what time of year, because it's just so different from one side to the other, one creek to the other. There's so many different creeks to pick from. You know, there's a couple guys from Ohio who are asking me how to fish the lake, how to break it down. And I was just like, man, just pick an area. That's what I do. I just pick one area, whatever area it is, just pick it and just break that down. Because you're not going to break down the whole lake.
It's too big. It's too big.
It's too big. Yeah, it's just way too big. Way too big.
And we have newer guys that fish with the club. You know, we are still an entry level $65 club. We're not $250. We're not $295. So we have guys of all skill levels, all experience that still fish with Queen City, and they probably look at Hartwell on a map and they're like, I'm not going out there. This thing is 2 states wide. It's tremendous. It's got rivers. It's got creeks. It's got 100-foot water. I don't know what to do there. Well, we say it all the time. It's just a bigger Norman. It really is just a bigger Norman. Norman is very, very similar to Hartwell. You might have a little bit of experience on Norman.
A little bit.
But we tell the new guys all the time, it's a deep, clear reservoir. You know, do what you do on Norman. It's full of spots. This is full of spots. And for the guys who their goal is to catch limits, I really think this is an event where that's going to be pretty accessible.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's just like you said, there's just going to be so many different ways to catch them. I mean, you're going to run points, you're going to run backs of coves, swim baits, jigs. I'm just psyched, man. I'm just psyched. It's just such a cool lake. I mean, and that's the fun about it too, is that like pre-fishing, what I have the 3 areas I have picked out, I'm going to be doing totally different stuff, you know, and I know I'm going to catch fish all in every area too, doing different things. It's just going to be so much fun. The pre-fishing is just fun.
Now, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but it could bite me in the ass. But Hartwell is one of the lakes where that sentence you just said, I know I'm going to catch fish. This is one of the lakes where I get that feeling. It's just, are you going to run into the right fish? Are you going to run into the 18s or are you going to run into the 15s? For me, you know, I pre-fished a whole week for BOS, and everywhere I went, they were 15 inches. And then not much changed on game day, to be honest with you. I just happened to catch a couple 17 inchers. So it worked out. And then last year for the bass event, I didn't pre-fish at all. It was actually my first time ever running a motor in a tournament. And I was like, okay, we're going to see how much ground I can cover. So I threw side scan on and I ran the motor down some docks and I found some fish and I caught a limit in like, I don't know, under an hour. And then this is when I realized having a motor was a huge advantage. I was able to hit the back of all these pockets and pick bedfish off the rest of the day. And I was like, could never do that pedaling or paddling. And that's when I told my club, I was like, don't ask me about motors again. We're not doing that. Like, that was crazy. I was like, yeah, this is an advantage. But yeah, so it is that kind of lake where you feel like you can show up and put 5 on the board and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, that's the deal, man. It's going to be all about finding the right fish on Norman.
Always, yep.
And that's just going to be such the truth. I mean, other lakes, it's just about finding the fish, you know what I mean? Because there's just not fish everywhere. But I feel like on this lake, there's fish everywhere. Herring. And that's one of the things that makes this lake so awesome for me because I like to fish swim baits. I ain't going to lie. I like to fish swim baits. Small ones, I like to burn them as fast as I can with fast reels. This is going to be a lot of fun, man. I mean, if you haven't gone out and picked off some spots with a small swim bait moving 90 miles an hour, it's just so much fun. You'll put a smile on your face for weeks.
So the thing about herring lakes is they're there one day and they're gone the next. So it's something you got to be careful with for those of you who are watching. Those herring lakes will bite you in the ass if you let them. So it's happened to me before. Those fish don't even stay in the same spot for half a day. So if you think you found them Wednesday, could almost guarantee they're gone by Saturday.
Yeah.
But if you're on them, if you're around them, it's fun. It's as fun as can be, like you said. So we'll see. I haven't been down there in a year. I'm showing up. I'll fish Thursday and Friday. It's about all I'm getting. So I got to play family man a little bit. When are you coming into town?
I'll be down there Tuesday. I'll start Tuesday on it.
Cool.
I'm lucky enough to get off work for it. So
it's actually my spring break, but being gone, however much I was gone, Wednesday through Sunday for Hobie, I don't want to kind of go back to back and my wife kill me. So I'm going to go down Thursday. But I thought about coming the whole week, and I don't think that would have went over well.
It's always important to keep your wife happy, man.
It's gotta be an even balance, and this was kind of a bonus for me because this is not usually the series that I chase, but I'm blessed to have Blaine as a director to be able to direct the Southern series, so I actually can fish a little bit. So huge shout out to Blaine. He's been killing it lately, and he'll be your director for the Southern side if you guys are double dipping. But yeah, so all right, let's hear it. Let's hear the prediction. Let's get a 4-fish Queen City win prediction, and let's get a 10-fish Bassmaster Open series.
So there's going to have to be some caveats here.
Of course.
Right.
Tornadoes, earthquakes.
No, not even. So I feel like for the 4-fish prediction, it could be over 80 inches, right? But the caveat is depending where the spawn hits us and how that works out for everybody. If someone finds those like 4-bedded 20s, and then there's a 22 that maybe next to it that he upgrades with or something.
It's so possible.
It's possible. You can see that very well could happen. Or if that scenario doesn't play out that way, it's going to end up being like, I think 78, like you said, 78, 77 inches for it.
So I put an imaginary target on G-Man's back last year when I fished because that's who I wanted to beat. He's dominant down there with them boys, and I wanted to whoop his tail, to be completely honest with you, and I hope he's still listening. And I had a limit, and I caught 2 big ones on a bed, and I rolled up on fish that looked like they wanted a bed. Those in-betweeners. They're in an area. You can't locate their bed, but they're pissed off about something.
They're swimming around,
around, and I had about 2 hours left, and I rolled up on 3 6-pounders, and they were on this ledge, and right next to the ledge there was a community dock, and there was this little girl fishing, banging the dock, and Dad is screaming she's banging a fishing dock, and I'm laughing because they don't know I'm fishing for all this money, and my buddy's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, I'm going to stay right here because if these fish eat, it's over. And I said, I already got, I don't know what I had, but I had enough for 4th and 12th. So I said, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to sit right here, see if I can catch these 6-pounders. And I had one of them pick a bait up and swipe, and that was it. The other 2 could not care at all. And I wasted the rest of my day waiting on those fish. But like you just said, you roll up on those fish, and you easily put up 80 or 100 inches in this tournament.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's going to be the caveat, right? Because, they also could be post.
Yes.
And then be kind of funky and hard to catch. So then the bigger fish may not be there. But it's God, this is just going to be so exciting, man. I don't care what anybody says. I love it when they're on these lower lakes, like these lower reservoir lakes like this one, where we're in between on the spawn, because anything's possible, right? Anything's going to be possible. You're going to be catching post spawners that are skinny. You're going to be catching fat ones that are ready to go. The unknowing of it is I'm just psyched to get down there to figure it out, man. I'm so
pretty
excited about it, man. And I'm trying to get everyone I can to know to come down to this because it's just such a great event, man.
Yeah, like I said earlier with Steve, I'm really hoping the guys from my side of it take advantage of the bass side. I know we won't get the same double dip back, but that's okay. I want my guys to see it. I want my guys to be on stage. I want my guys to have that feeling that me and you get, more oftentimes than not when we're running around with these elite anglers. I want them to feel that and see that. So we're just blessed to get to work with AJ, to get to work with Steve-O and have these opportunities, and I hope people take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's so amazing to see everything that's being built by you guys, man, and building it together and the teamwork that's happening, even though you guys don't really work together. You don't work for the same company. You're different trails, and coming together and putting stuff together for the betterment of the anglers is just awesome, dude. You don't see it everywhere. I'm not trying to be a naysayer on anything, but you don't see that everywhere. So when you do see it, it needs to be recognized, man.
No, you don't see it everywhere, and it's unfortunate. I think, and I kind of stated this earlier, if people would work together, it would make everything better. It's not. Yeah. Working together is not to make one thing better. It's to make everything better. You don't want anglers to have to choose. And I say that all the time. A choice is no good, right? If Santee and Hartwell were going on at the same time, they both would have suffered. Nobody would have benefited. Yeah. So the fact that there's 2 weeks in between in the same great state, I'm hoping those guys come back and everybody benefits. But I don't know, man. There's people who don't understand that or who don't care about it. And it waters. I watch it all the time in different states. There's 6 clubs and everything's watered down. Everybody averages 30 angles. So like who's benefiting from that? The angler's not benefiting. He doesn't want to fish for $200. He wants to fish for $2,000. So, but we've been lucky. AJ's great. You guys know that. Steve-O's phenomenal. So I'm just, hey, if I'm in that circle, I'm good. I'm hanging out. I don't mind playing the little dog to those guys. Not at all.
And it's cool seeing the regional aspect develop. You know what I mean? It's no longer just a part of the state, the northwest part of the state. It's no longer just a state. You have moved, into 2 states and beyond, really. So it's becoming a regional aspect. And that's just awesome because we need different levels like that. And we need different aspects to the sport. And having 4 fish and it being different, some people are like, "Oh, why is it 4 fish?" I said that in my first show. I'm like, "This is weird, dude. Why is this 4 fish, man?" And you're just like, "Well, just cause, man. I don't know. It's different." And I'm like, well, that's actually kind of cool. It is different.
That's it. That's the answer. The answer's not changing. Everybody was 3 or 5. We were 4, and we're still 4, and we're rolling with it. The only time it's weird is when, like, I'm on a podcast and I'm like, 75 inches won, and people are like, bunch of 15 inches? No, actually, bunch of 19 inches. Actually, some pretty good fish. But the expansion this year was a huge risk, and I was so scared and nervous. And I've said it before, but I'm going to say it here publicly with you, Smitty. I didn't think it was going to happen. I had a couple companies lined up that I was going to talk to about this idea. And then it was like a Monday morning and I was off of work and my wife calls me and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, just doubled the size of Queen City. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, we're going west and we're going south. It's done. She's like, it's done? I said, it's done. And I was like, here we go, 18 events. Well, we got so lucky with somebody in South Carolina that was itching to take on this job of director. And, he's running with it, man. He's picked up sponsors. We got a South Carolina jersey made for the Southern Series. He's directing events. He's judging. He's hosting captains meetings. So he's taking a huge load off my plate where I can focus on maybe going another direction next year and see if we can pick up another director and have a fourth series. So we'll see. It's all about numbers. The West opened up really good. The South obviously opened up really good. And I think this is going to help the South here too. So as we're saying all that, I got to give a shout out to Boondocks. Obviously, their logo is front and center up there on top. They are the presenting sponsor of the Southern. What are you pointing at? We can't see it.
Boondocks.
Oh, yeah, right there. Of the Southern Series. So huge shout out to Matt and Boondocks. And I told Matt I was going to try to break some wheels over these last two events I fished. And that Groovy landing gear has been doing its thing. So can't break them. So far, I've been good. But so listen, I really do appreciate you coming in. I know it's getting late. We said we were going to be done in an hour and we lied. So here we go.
Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it, bro.
Well, Smitty, let's get up Friday night. Maybe we'll go get some of that barbecue they were talking about. And we got to be there for board check anyway. So
that sounds good, dude. Seriously.
All right, buddy. If there's anybody you want to shout out, your sponsors or anything like that, feel free to do it.
Yeah. All my sponsors, Hobie, Strictly Sail, Fishing Online, Picasso, Maui Gym. Like to thank all those guys for doing everything that they do for me. I couldn't do this without them, not to this extent. And and again, I want to thank all the good tournament anglers and the guys who run the tournaments. I want to thank all those guys for making all these events happen, man, because without the anglers and without the people running them, there wouldn't be these events to go to. And I've met so many good people and made so many lifelong friends through these things. So just thanks to all you guys, man.
Awesome, brother. Well, look, keep being a great angler. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you crush it just quarter inch less than I do. And
thanks, man.
I'll see you down there in Anderson.
All right, bro.
Later. All right, Queen City. So that's another episode of, I don't know, this is officially not officially a podcast, whatever we want to call this little deal. Thanks for coming in tonight. I appreciate you guys dealing with the fact that we did it on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Obviously, we did it for the cutoff. If you have questions, if you watch this on Thursday or Friday, you have questions, you want to sign up, hit me up, hit Steve-O up, hit Brent still up about the South Carolina Bass Nation. Get signed up on Tourney X. Everything's up there. We're over 90 already. I think my event has like 1 or 2, so it'd be nice if you guys signed up for hours before Friday next week. But we'll see what happens. Huge shout out to Charles Lathan with Domestic Fence Company. If you guys are in need of fence services in the greater South Carolina area, please consider using him. And I got to thank Native Watercraft for everything they do for the series. Boondocks for the South, Big Adventures for the West, which we are going to on April 22nd, Lake James, and we will be at Big Adventures. We're going to give away a kayak. We're going to have somebody grilling out burgers and dogs. It'll be a good time after catching some bronze backs. And then a big shout out to Academy Sports and Outdoors. You guys have been winning gift cards every month. They are our presenting sponsor for Angler of the Year. So I appreciate you all for deciding to fish with Queen City. And anything you need, let me know, and we'll chat soon. Everybody have a good night.